So, does manifestation change from the monad perspective?
Yeah, well, sure. Of course it's going to change.
How so?
You're not going to be as you're not going to be as objective. You're not going to objectify everything. You know, you're more into that dynamic of that energy that you go into when you meditate, when you go into a sacred place, when you do. What if you can go within yourself and work on the positive aspects of yourself rather than trying to fix yourself all the time?
What do you mean by that? Like, practice good things?
Yeah, the channel is not a big one for meditation, but we certainly would say to you that is, especially women, and especially the women that you know, there's that whole dynamic of that yama yama that occurs inside your head. You need to be able to find a place to turn that off.
Gotten better, but I know what you mean.
And spend 10 or 15 minutes a day just in that position where you have turned that voice off, where you have turned that energy off, and you can just be in that space and just be.
Yeah, like what I told 80, I call it like marinating, and I use that in all aspects, whether I'm sad, angry, or thinking about something too much. I try to pull myself out of it and not marinate in it for too long.
No, but that's true, because if you're marinating it, all you're doing is repeating the dynamic. You're just repeating that energy over and over again. You may not do it sequentially. You may have 3 or 4 different things. So you're worrying about that thing, and then you worry about that thing, and then you worry about that thing, and you realize that it's 2 days later, and you haven't taken any time for yourself at all because you're so busy.
Can we talk a little about like love and gratitude? Because I'm finding like when I'm in those moments, those yama yama moments, whatever it is, if it's about someone or a thing or something that just happened, to try and just shift into that and like throw love and gratitude at that. That's at a higher frequency, right?
Well, the thing is that you're trying to direct the love and the gratitude, and you're in order to project it, you have to objectify it.
What is with you against objectifying in like a positive way? I feel like you can do it in a positive way. I don't feel like it's entirely negative.
It's not, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, when you objectify something like that, you move it into an active place. The dynamic of communion with the monad is an allowance. It's what's the word, Adrian? It's a
state of being.
It's a state of resonance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a certain state of resonance where you suspend most of the dynamics of your beliefs. And you're in that dynamic of that oneness. And you can only hold it. We wish to tell you, while you're in the physical, you can only hold it for a little while. It's not like you're going to be able to hold it for more than 5 or 10 minutes. But if you can hold it for 5 or 10 minutes, you will rejuvenate yourself. Not only will you rejuvenate yourself, you will come out of the session with, what shall we say, a whole bunch of perhaps new thoughts, new ideas, things, dynamics that suddenly come to you that are actually head slappers, where you're, why didn't I think of this before? One of those types of things.
So is this what you've been referring to this year when you've talked about the other way?
Sure. We've been talking about it as the other way for 35 years.
Okay.
Could like visualization be a form of like a meditation where you're like visualizing
but again,
like
that's
the
active.
oneness or connecting with the monad of somehow? Because I'm not good at meditating. Like, what would be a good visualization that you would recommend to?
And you go down to a safe place in nature, you sit at the edge of a pool, you close your eyes, and you just move into as relaxed state. You just turn off the voices. If the voice comes, you shut up, go away. You may have to use your will. You may have to come back at another point when your mind is calmer. It depends on what's your situation. It's best if you do it while you're relaxed and you're not all stressed out. And so you're not looking for the state as a state of being, as a rescue, but you're looking at it as a way to empower yourself, as a way to strengthen yourself, as a way to be one with all and all with one.
Yeah. I mean, we're very good and disciplined at, scrolling. I suppose we can be disciplined at that, turning the switch off.
Yeah, well, whatever works for you, you create whatever metaphor you wish. That's the whole thing about speaking with your subconscious. You put yourself in that relaxed position, in that relaxed state, and all of a sudden everything is a metaphor.
I'm learning that lately. One metaphor might not work for me, but might work for someone else. But as long as you find what resonates and what works for you.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's one of the reasons that we do not promote certain meditations. We'll promote techniques, but we have had many of the people that have worked with us when we were putting out guided meditations in that sort of way, they use them as crutches. They put the meditation on and repeat it over and over again all night long while they're asleep. Well, no, that's not how they work.
It's better to build your toolbox per se.
Correct.
Right? Try different things.
That's right. Well, I mean, each of the meditations you'll see have certain techniques. They have certain metaphors that are built in with them. So what you do, that's the important part. You take the metaphors, because subconscious does not speak spoken language. It only understands
symbol, metaphor, and feeling.
It doesn't speak spoken language. And so if you create a dynamic where you discover a hurt and you visualize that hurt as a cut within yourself, and you can begin to take threads of energy from your higher self, and you can sew up that wound, you're telling your subconscious directly that you wish to be done with it. Right? Very metaphorical, very all of that stuff. And you can be guaranteed to have an "Are you sure?" shortly thereafter. Well, but again, why? Because you're actively going after the dynamic. You're saying to your reality, I wish to be done with this. Your reality says, well, 3 months ago, you said the same thing. Well, are you sure? Here, let me give you the old thing again and see if you take it.
Yeah. Yeah. I always look at that as like a thermostat. When you want to change it, sometimes it kicks back on the old one and you want to push back.
Well, that's it. You're, especially if there is a real danger of you changing something, your reality will give you an old dream.
An old dream?
An old dream, yeah. That guy you've been chasing for 2 years, you finally gave him up, and you moved away from. We're not talking to you personally, but
I know.
if the foo shits, but there's that whole dynamic of energy where you say, well, okay, it's not healthy for me. I'm not going to do that anymore. And, you break it off and you do all of that stuff. And then when you least expect it, all of a sudden the phone rings again and you're back into it. It's the "Are you sure?" Misty, are you sure? Your reality says you want to really be done with this? Or is some love better than no love at all?
But who's to say there's no love at all, depending on how you look at things?
That's correct. That is correct. All right. All right. Anything else?
Yes, there's a
Too
sort of,
bad. It's almost an hour already.
there is a belief within the world, and I'm curious whether it's Demerge or Monad, that love is all there is. All right. All that is has a lot of stuff in it that's not love. So.
Correct. If it's all,
I feel like it'd be pretty boring.
well, it would be boring if love was all there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the adventure? Where's the danger?
Where's the heartbreak?
Well, isn't that interesting that you often you see that as a peak experience?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you were saying that Jesus was the counterpart of Sophia, so Jesus...
No, he did not say that.
I asked you that and you said yes.
We said Christ.
Ah, right, the Christ energy.
I did say Christ. Sorry.
Yes, Jesus
We
the
said
man.
Christ.
Christ energy.
So what is the latest?
Say again?
It's like, because I was given a different name or term as far as Sophia's counterpart.
Yeah, there are any number of names.
Oh, okay.
There are any number of names.
Just like there's any number of metaphors.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. They're all just labels. But if you look at the dynamic of what it means, what the Christ energy actually means, you know, and the Christ energy was a template of behavior that you were all supposed to follow. But instead, it was twisted, and the meanings of it were twisted in order to be able to put it into a place where you could still where you could utilize those dynamics of belief for control.
Can you give us an example of like one thing that was twisted, of like, say something that Christ was talking about? And
well, the way we would say to it that if you were to study the Gospels, that you would be finding the truth, the Sermon on the Mount, and the dynamics of that. That was what the Christ was really here to teach you.
The Sermon on
and
the
so
what?
that Sermon on the Mount.
Okay.
Well, if you've never read about it, it's very interesting.
I've never even heard of it till just now.
Oh, well, you'll find that. We think you'll find it very interesting. All right. And we're not going to go into it right here because, you know, why would we deprive you of the adventure of discovery?
So...
2.
Yes. Thank you.
So, all right. We love you all so very, very much. And so until the next time we close, sending you peace, sending you happiness, sending you joy. This should give you something to do.